Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Chicopee, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is our very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
That's right, and we're going to talk about charities today, and that's an important part of the tours because I try to get people to contribute to charity.
And so today he'll be educating us on the charities of historical tours of Greater Holyoke. So how do you select the annual charity organization?
What I do, I use this criteria. The charity has to be near the canal system of Holyoke, and it has to be a charity that is designed for the young people of Holyoke or the surrounding communities. And with that criteria, it's actually pretty easy to find these charities. I've done it for 9 years. It's now the year 2023, and I'm going to do it for many more years after this. There's so many poor people in Holyoke, and it really helps to have them have a lot of charities around. And there are, and it's going to be more developed. Now, we're going to talk about this year's, why I chose this year, but I'm also going to talk about all the past charities I've had. And I'm also going to talk about some of the future charities I've had. And remember that my criteria, be around the canals of Holyoke, because that's my major source of tours, and also help these young people.
And so what is the charity this year and why?
This year it's the Holyoke Merry-Go-Round, which used to be at Mountain Park. And there in Mountain Park, they had this gorgeous merry-go-round. I think it was about 90 years ago it was bought. And then it was when the Mountain Park closed for good, the community didn't want to leave that carousel or merry-go-round up there. They wanted to bring it downtown. It had to be housed inside, and so they had to get money to do this, to get it refurbished, stored, rebuilt, and to build a house around it that will keep it safe. It cost $1 million to do that, but it was done. They got the money. It's a lot of money to get, but through personal contributions from school children, from a lot of institutions, and a lot of big donors, they were able to get all the money together. And it has been downtown for a long time now. And it's also the year 2023, which is the 150th anniversary of Holyoke as a city. And this is a great symbol of the city of Holyoke, the merry-go-round itself. So, and they serve the young people of Holyoke, which is one of my criteria, and it also is near the canal system. It's in Holyoke Heritage State Park, which is just above the first level canal of Holyoke. And so it reached my criteria. This is the 9th year of giving tours, and this is the 9th charity I've had, different charity that I've had for Holyoke. And it was an easy selection by the end.
And so before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And they are perfect for fun educational outdoor activities for the whole family or for your group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. They're also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, what were the past charities?
All right, so this is the 9th year of giving tours around South Hadley, Holyoke, and Chicopee. And so some of the past charities I've had through the years, this year, 2023, was the Holyoke Merry-Go-Round, of course. But last year, 2022, was the Massachusetts Academy of Ballet, which is an open square. And that ballet company has been around Holyoke for quite a while. And they were very appreciative of my having them charity be them. And actually, they're the first charity to ever come on one of my tours. They came on a Holyoke Heritage Trail Tour with us last year, and I was very appreciative of that. In the year 2021, it was the Children's Museum at Holyoke, which is in Holyoke Heritage State Park. Of course, they're right in the first level canal, as most of these charities have been. And that one there serves the young people of Holyoke through a beautiful children's museum, which most communities don't get to have. In the year 2020, it was the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Holyoke, which is on the Cosmos Way. Again, very close to First Level Canal. And that was the year of the pandemic. This is the first charity I didn't get to meet in person because the pandemic closed most things around. In the year 2019, it was Homework House Holyoke, which has 3 locations around Holyoke, most importantly at the former Immaculate Conception Rectory, but also in the Flats Community Center. They also have one at the St. Paul's Episcopal Church. They used to have one in the auditorium of the Sacred Heart Church, now the Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish. I don't know if that's still there, but they were appreciative of that. Most people didn't know about Homework House Holyoke. They went on a tour, so I had to explain to most charities they do know what they do. In the year 2018, it was Girls Incorporated of the Valley, which has the teen center in open square, but it has its youth center now at a new location on Hamden Street. And of course, they were very appreciative of it. They are also on the first level canal, somewhat closer maybe to the second level canal. In 2017, it was Providence Ministries, which is run out of a place on Hamilton Street in Holyoke. They are down by the third level canal, and they serve the wider community. And they run Kate's Kitchen. They run St. Jude's Clothing Store. They run adult men ministries out of a couple of buildings in Holyoke. And they serve also the children of Holyoke through serving the free food and having a small clothing store. In the year 2016, the charity was the Holyoke Historical Commission, which is one of the commissions based out of the Planning Department of City Hall, Holyoke City Hall. They were a very good charity to have for people, and also they sponsored my bus that year, so they gave me money to run my bus tours, which I was very happy about. In the year 2015, it was Tapestry, now based on Ray Street in Holyoke, and they were my first charity ever.
And what will be some of the future charities?
Okay, in the future, some of the charities around Holyoke that could be developed are the following. Lighthouse Holyoke, which is an education center on Ray Street, and they're a private school that tries to develop independent curriculum for students. The Holyoke Public Library, which has a teen and a children's program both, and of course they're easy to find at Chestnut Street. The Volleyball Hall of Fame, which of course is Holyoke Heritage State Park, and Holyoke is the birthplace of volleyball. And also Enchanted Circle Theater, which is an open square which encourages independently made theatrical performances for young people and for older people. And also the Care Center of Holyoke, which is on Cabot Street, and they help expectant young mothers keep their education going and also develop themselves. And they're pregnant, so develop themselves physically too. So those are some of the future ones.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours. I want to thank our listeners for tuning in. You can also tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. Again, that's HolyokeCanalTour.org. And you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And be sure to keep an eye out for his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Holyoke, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
That's correct.
So today he'll be educating us on the Girls Inc. of the Valley. So what does Girls Inc. of the Valley do?
They're a group that advocates and supports girls and has programs for girls located within the Connecticut River Valley, Massachusetts. They have programs up and down the valley. Mostly they're centered in Holyoke, Massachusetts. And they are the former national level Girls Club of America, which was renamed in the year 1990 as Girls Incorporated. And the reason why they did that is because also the Boys Clubs of America were taking on girls, and so they want to be distinct from that. Now, they do programs for elementary school students, for middle and high school uh, students, and they also do Eureka programs, after school programs, summertime enrichment programs, so forth. They do all this because they want to help support the girls in a better life for themselves. A lot of these girls come from the cities, and especially from, of course, Holyoke, Springfield, Chicopee, so forth. And they want to help support their lives and make them feel better about themselves, make them more powerful, and make them better speakers and better students at what they do, and so forth. And this type of program has really been successful around the area. You often see their vans going around, and they're well supported financially around the area. And I'm going to tell you where they are in Holyoke along the way, and why he selected them for a charity in the past, and what some of the programs really mean.
And where are they located?
In Holyoke, they're located in two different locations. One location is on Hamden Street, as of last year, and they have a grant, CPA grant, Community Preservation Act grant, to fix up their place very nicely. And they're in the old O'Connell Engineering Building. And there they have the administration, plus they have the elementary school program in that location. The middle and high school programs are in 6 Open Square Way. And then they have small satellite programs around the area just for girls in the suburbs or rural areas. And these locations are strategically located because most people around Holyoke don't necessarily have access to cars. It might be hard for some of the girls to get to their programs. But by being on Hamden Street and by being on Dwight Street or off of Dwight Street, they're able to get there very quickly. Um, these locations have changed. Their former location used to be on Nick Cosmo's Way, and they changed that to get a better place. And I'm glad they applied for a grant to get a nicer place. The grant was very large, and they were able to fix up the building to a very high level.
And quickly before we continue with the rest of the interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each shore and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And they are perfect for fun and educational outdoor activities for the whole family, or for your group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. And they are also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, why did you select them as a charity?
In the year 2018, I selected them as a charity for the Greater Holyoke Historical Tours. And the reason why is because they're a very strong organization. And also, they're near the Holyoke Canal System. And they help the young people of Holyoke. And for 9 years, I've always had the desire to have the charity be in Holyoke near the canal systems and advocate for the young people. And certainly Girls Incorporated Valley does that. They are very appreciative, and lots of money was sent in to help their cause. And they have other foundations to help them out. Of course, they need a lot of money to keep their programs going. For instance, People's Bank is a constant advocate for them. And also this year they're getting a $2 million grant from the federal government to help their programs keep going. It's hard to have programs that are strong and help a lot of people, but they've been able to do that very well.
And what types of programs do you have?
All right, they have many programs. There's an elementary school program where the student can come out of any school on the elementary school level within the Connecticut River Valley. And most of them, of course, comes from the elementary schools of Springfield, Chicopee, and Holyoke itself. And they also have a middle and high school program where the students again come from schools within, usually an urban center, but also they expand into suburbs and rural lately. And these programs are quite different, elementary compared to middle and high school, because the type of person you're dealing with has changed through the years. And so these programs advocate to get these young ladies better, stronger, good speakers, and make good decisions in life. And they help them with their education. They have enrichment programs in the summer, and usually the programs go for half the school year. Then you start another one next half of the school year. But of course, the summer programs are very large, and many students take advantage of them. Now they have one very special program called Eureka, which is a program where they're tied in with the University of Massachusetts Amherst to try to have these students go off to college level classes and expand upon their education, like in science, like in technology. There's also a STEM and a STEAM program. STEM is science, technology, English, and math, and they try to have the students get much better at these academic subjects. Of course, they're hard for most people, and not enough women or girls go into the sciences and technologies because they're not exposed to it very much. And so they try to expose them to these fields and have them build up their interest. If there's no interest, even when there's academic ability, you're not going to have a person go into it. And then they build upon the academic ability once they're interested in it. So thank you for listening to this podcast.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And you can also tune in to a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. Again, that's holyokecanaltour.org. And again, you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And be sure to keep an eye out for his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, and what life was like in the industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Coleman. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites within communities throughout Massachusetts. Currently, the communities that he focuses on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and East Hampton, also Granby and Amherst as well. His tours focus on the canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, also parks, houses, and streets. He personally gives all his presentations and tours himself. So in today's episode, we will be discussing the Lighthouse Holyoke. So, what is your 2024 charity?
All right, every year I have a new charity in place. I've been doing tours and presentations around the communities of Holyoke, South Hadley for 10 years now. And the one I chose for 2024 is a school a private school. It's called Lighthouse Holyoke. It's found on Race Street in Holyoke. And this selection I thought through, and they have the values that I like. And I like always to choose an institution in Holyoke that's near the canal system and also that serves the young people of Holyoke and the communities around it. And this one definitely does that. It's at 208 Race Street. Race Street is where the second level canal is. And it definitely serves the young people. I think it's a high school only. It serves young people of communities around it. And they do things very differently by making individual coursework where the student comes in and tries to build up a curriculum that they can enjoy and then get into it from that point. Now, along the way today, I'll talk about why I selected this one and what big changes they're in for and what I might select next year.
And why did you select this institution?
All right, compared to other institutions, I selected this one because it was 10th anniversary giving tours and I wanted to make a special one. And I was a teacher myself for about 18 years, and so I like when schools are my choice. And it's a very individualistic school. They make their own curriculum for each student. And I like that because I always like to do things on my own, even when I was very young. I really had to force myself through school, even though I was a good student. It never both challenged me technically, nor did it challenge me in terms of interest of being in high school and college. So I liked the idea that they were very different.
And quickly before we continue with our interview, just to fill our listeners in, for more information or to sign up for various tours, check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there you can find videos and podcasts of the stops along each tour, as well as photos and text of the historical sites as well. And for private tours and other inquiries, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And his tours make for fun, educational, outdoor activities for families and group parties. So getting back to our interview, big changes are in place for this institution. What are they?
All right, for the last 10 years since they started up, they've been at 208 Ray Street in the building that's called the Steam, which is the former Holyoke Radiator Company building on Ray Street. Great historic building to be on, but they've bought a new property on Maple Street. It is in Holyoke. It was first the French Protestant church in Union, and then in the 40s taken over by the Congregation Sons of Zion, a Jewish synagogue. And for 80 years, the Sons of Zion stayed there. And now they're moving, and in comes Lighthouse Holyoke. So they're going to be at the southeast corner of Maple and Cabot Street. They bought out the whole city block there. They'll change over the inside into classrooms. They received a $500,000 grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to change over into a classroom look. They also bought the land outside of it, which partly they'll change into a parking lot, but part of it they're going to change into a garden, which I think is wonderful. So a quarter of the whole city block is going to be a garden which the students can use, and that's outdoor education at its best. I hope they do well. There's big changes in store, and they're a small group, but I'm pretty sure they can handle this.
And any hints on the next charity for 2025?
All right, so I've had many charities through the years, including the Providence Ministries, Girls Incorporated of the Valley, Homework House Holyoke, Boys Club of Greater Holyoke, Children's Museum at Holyoke, Massachusetts Academy of Ballet, and the Holyoke Merry-Go-Round. And I have some thoughts about next year. Sure, it can be things like the Holyoke Library or the Volleyball Hall of Fame. But for 10 years, I've never repeated any charity. And next year, in the year 2025, is the 150th anniversary of the Precious Blood Church fire. And I might go back to somehow getting the Providence Ministries again to be my charity. In the year 2017, they were my charity. In that year, I didn't accept monetary donations, but I accepted donations of merchandising, mostly clothes, household goods, and some food, and I brought it into them, and they appreciated that greatly. So I might go back to them again, since it's the Sisters of Providence are heavily related to the former property of the Precious Blood Church campus. They weren't the nuns that served that campus in the schools, but they've taken over there, and they made the Broderick House there, and Loretta House, and Kate's Kitchen there. So I might go back to them. But that's up in the air still. I have to think a lot about. And there's plenty of more places around Holyoke that I could have for charity. There's the Care House on Cabot Street. There's the Enchanted Circle. There's also Wisteria's. And there's other groups in other communities like in South Hadley and Chicopee, which I might do also. So it's all up in the air.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours and historical topics of your expertise. And thank you to our sponsors. And of course, we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And check out a large selection of our other podcasts at his website, as well as on SoundCloud.com. And be sure to stay up to date with new podcasts and videos posted daily. Thank you, and hope you join us again. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from South Hadley, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
Yes, and this is one of my charities for the tours.
And so today he will be educating us on the Massachusetts Academy of Ballet. So tell us about the Academy of Ballet.
All right, this is located in Open Square in Holyoke, Massachusetts. It's a ballet school where they teach many kinds of ballet. And they have classes for children and for adults, of course. And once a year they give a presentation called Holyoke Historic Nutcracker, and they've done that for the 12th year now, and that will be happening very soon. This is in November of 2023, and the Nutcracker will happen, I think it's December 16th this year. It's going to be held at Pope Francis School in Springfield, and I'm going to tell you along the way why I made this my charity, and I'm going to tell you more about that Nutcracker. And then I'm going to tell you exactly where they are located along the way. But this school has been run by the Flax family for many years now. And they themselves were professional ballet dancers in the past. And everything I hear about the school is fine. They have a great webpage. And it looks very, very much like a wonderful business. I only visited once, and it looked very good. Everyone seemed very happy. So I was very proud to make this my charity.
And so why did you make it your 2022 charity?
Right, every year I have a charity. I've been doing this for 9 years now, as of this year, 2023. And for the past 7 years, I made the charity not only be in Holyoke, like all mine have been, but also have to do with the young people of Holyoke. And this ballet school has a scholarship program where those who don't have enough money can apply and get classes with a scholarship basis behind them. Most students don't do that. Their parents will pay for it. So I made this the charity because it's in Holyoke, it's along the canal system, and it helps deal with the young people of Holyoke. And they are an excellent place. Now this is, out of the 9 charities I made, this is probably the one that was least well known. I had to explain to everyone on tour where they were and what they're all about. They didn't realize there was even a ballet school in Holyoke, and it had been around for a very long time. So not only was it a charity, it was publicity too. The other location was the Homework House of Holyoke. And the other charities people knew about, so I didn't have to explain too much. So it would help promote them.
And so before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, yahoo.com. And they are perfect for fun, educational, and outdoor activities for the whole family. or for your group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. They are also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, what special event does the Mass Academy of Ballet have this year?
All right, for the past 12 years, it has a Christmas time ballet performance called the Nutcracker, and they've named it Holyoke Historic Nutcracker. Now, what they've done is that they made it not only the Nutcracker, but particular to Holyoke, and particular to historical events. And so the performance, it takes place in the Mysterious and also in the former Opera House that's not there anymore. And it depicts the Skinner family during the month of December when they were younger and what their childhood was like. So it's a great thing. Now, it used to take place at the Mysterious and then at the War Memorial Building of Holyoke. But as a few years ago, it shifted out to the Pope Francis High School in Springfield. So I wish they find a way to get it back into Holyoke. There's places where this can be viewed in Holyoke. It could be done at Holyoke City Hall. It could be done at Holyoke Community College, Holyoke High School. It could be done inside of one of the churches. And all of them will be perfect settings for such a magical event. And since it's based on the history of Holyoke, it should be done in Holyoke. And that's where it maximizes its importance. So next year, the year 2024, we're hoping to get it back, and that's the 150th anniversary of the Skinner's family arrival in Holyoke. So it should be done in Holyoke next year.
And where is the Ballet Academy located?
Okay, it's in Open Square, and it's in the major site. I think it's on the 4th floor, and they have a large space there for the ballet school. And of course, they have beautiful spaces for all the ballet dancers to either do fundamentals or do some very important moves. Now, it has ample parking in the back part or the front, but now you look at it off Lyman Street. And so once you go to their website, you can read much more about where they are, what they do. You can see some videos of what they do. You can see their donation page. You can read about the people that run it. And you can also sign up for classes, and you can see pictures of the people that are taking the classes. And they always look very happy, and that's very important. Most of them are children, but there are some adult classes too. Thank you for listening to this podcast.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. You can also tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. Again, that's holyokecanaltour.org. And again, you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Chicopee, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
Yes, and I have given them for 9 years now.
And today he'll be educating us on the Tapestry Clinic. So, what does Tapestry do?
All right, Tapestry is an organization in the lower Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts, Hampden, Hampshire County. It tries to get people access to services they typically wouldn't have or would be hard to find around the area. And they do this by having places, they have a place in Springfield, they have a place in Holyoke, a place in Northampton, and they do things like needle exchange, pregnancy test, safer sex, call it that. They also do Narcan distribution. They do it mostly through their Tapestry centers, but they also have outlets around the area. They have disposable boxes for disposable syringes in the key areas, such as the public restrooms, like in the public libraries. They have education on all things such as health, food, They also have gender affirming hormone therapies, birth control, and they do all this in their locations to help the people that don't have much access to these, such as drug users or very, very poor people. And the way they do it is very nice because they're very affirming. They don't judge people. And along the way, we're going to talk about where they get their money and why do they make Tapestry one of my charities. And then also what direction Tapestry has gone through the years. I've known about Tapestry for 20 years now. I brought a person there almost twice a week 20 years ago for a whole year. So I got used to what they were doing.
So where does the funding come from?
All right, the funding comes from many, many, many different places. From the federal government, from the Massachusetts state government, from charitable donations that come from businesses or institutions, and also from individuals that care about these people. And they get this money because they are a very affirming place that does a great work, and I hope they keep doing it. Their location that they started off with, I think, was in Northampton, and since then it's spread and spread. The Holyoke location has changed its location through the years. It's now on Race Street in the Gadara building, and there you get all the services you want. Look at their hours; they're constantly changing, so you got to get used to that. But they have all their services there at different times of the day, so look them up and find what they do. And of course, they always accept donations, and I was very happy to have made them my charity in the past. But we'll talk about that next.
And so quickly, before we continue with the rest of our interview, we want to thank our listeners for tuning in, and if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And they are perfect for fun and educational outdoor activities for the whole family, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. And they are also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, why did you make Tapestry your first ever charity?
Okay, when I started doing tours around the Holyoke Canal System 8 years ago, in the year 2015, I decided why not make it such that people can go free on these tours, but if they wanted to give money, they can give it to a charity. And I always select a place that's near the canal system of Holyoke, because that tends to be where the poorest people are. Now, I've been doing this for 9 years now. It's now the year 2023. The first 2 years, I didn't have any second restrictions, and I said it could be for anyone. For the first 2 years, then, I had where it served adults. But in the last 7 years, I've put another restriction. So sure, it'll be near the Holyoke Canal System, but also it's going to be such that it helps the younger people of the Holyoke area. And so I've held to that second rule since then. But Tapestry does such great work that I'm glad that they got the first nod. I would always see them out there in their location, and people didn't always know what they did, so I got to inform them along the way. Tapestry does this and that, and they're great. The Needle Exchange Law had started up about 20 years ago, and sure, they do a lot of that, but they do a lot of distribution of useful products for poor people, for people that don't know much about their health, and of course, drug addicts.
And so, what does the future hold for Tapestry?
Well, they change with the times, just like they should, and they got a new executive director, for instance, last week. They always try to expand their reach if they need to get different locations. When I first knew them 20 years ago, they had one location. I think they have 4 now. And they always try to change the program such that the people can get what they need depending upon how society is changing. It wasn't always easy to get very good access to health And for 20 years ago, there was no universal health insurance. And so they were very much into that 20 years ago. And now they still do it for people that find it hard in terms of transportation to get to Bay State Hospital, right? And some people can just walk to this tapestry compared to have to get a bus or to get a ride there. So they changed with the times, and I'm glad about that. And someday again, I'm going to make them again my charity. I'll cycle through probably 15 charities, 15 years, and I'll get back to them at some point.
So thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours, and I want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And you can tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. Again, that's holyokecanaltour.org. And again, you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com.